5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let the games begin.
Is Final Reckoning a masterclass on how to wrap up a franchise, or something that you'll eagerly disavow because it self-destructs in 5 seconds? Choose this Movies Merica Live mission and find out next on this episode of Movies Merica Live.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Well, hello there, everybody, on this happy Memorial Day weekend Sunday, or just Memorial Weekend Sunday. There we go. Yeah, let's get that right there, everybody. Welcome to this latest episode of Movies Merica Live. We're on a mission in this episode here, and as always, I am Ethan Hunt. Sorry, it's Van Ebert. I know I have a striking resemblance to Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt here, so I know it's hard to look away and hard not to think that right there. But yes, we're going to be talking about some Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning here. Or is it? I don't know. So, we'll talk more about that in this. But want to welcome my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. You guys know who you are, of course. All right, you guys know who you are personally and all that. So, and just to remind you guys that you guys can get in a live chat here on Rumble or YouTube, okay? It doesn't just have to be me up here yapping the whole time, okay? How dull is that? You can get in the live chat and you can let me know, hey, I saw a mission. I thought it sucked. Hey, I saw Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I thought it was awesome. And as I'm going through my opinion and my outlook and my just my thoughts on it here, you can let me know, man, you are smoking crack, man. What are you thinking? What are you saying? What the hell? That doesn't make any sense, Or you can say, you know what, Van? Yep, you, me, you, yeah, we park our car in the same garage about this movie right here. So yes, friend, there you go. So let's get right into Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning without any further ado. And so if you've seen Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, or now they've just chopped off the Part 1, so it's now just Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, because the whole Part 1 and Part 2 thing didn't quite work out so well there. And so because Paramount Pictures thought that, well, it's because we had Part 1 on the title of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. That's why it didn't do so great at the box office. Well, we were expecting it to hot off the heels of Top Gun Maverick the prior summer right there. And then I don't think it has anything to do with it having Part 1 on the title there. Call me crazy, but I think that there was this little movie called Sound of Freedom that came out a week before Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And I think at that point, a lot of people were still on a budget. And movies, I mean, yeah, I'll admit it. Let's face it, movies going to the theater, it's expensive. All right, it is expensive. So a lot of people that were probably saving up their money to do like their one movie trip for the month, there were probably saving up their money for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. But then they kept on hearing about this movie, Sound of Freedom, that you have to go see. And they all went there and they basically said, all right, let's use our monthly movie money on Sound of Freedom, and then we'll just catch Mission Impossible on streaming. I mean, hell, it's going to be on streaming in about 5 minutes anyway, or in 5 minutes. Anyway, so I think Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, weirdly enough, got taken out by Sound of Freedom. Not that Sound of Freedom intended to do that. It was just terrible circumstances for that Mission Impossible movie right there. Like Mission Impossible Fallout back in 2018, it didn't have any Sound of Freedom to contend with, and that's why it was a hit right there. So, but this Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, the plot of it is, so at the end of Dead Reckoning Part 1, they are trying to get the key, the Crucible key, that'll open up the compartment for the entity, right? So they can get to the entity's original source code. And there's a big train chase and all that, right? Ethan Hawke jumps off the cliff with the motorcycle and gets on the train. And then at the end of the whole train sequence, Ethan Hunt ends up getting the cruciform key, and Gabriel, the bad guy, the human face of the entity, he escapes off the train, and he thinks, "Ha ha! I got away with the key. All right, it's world domination time now." And then he looks in the sand like, "What? Wait, that's not the key." Just starts. Well, I didn't start crying, but he's more dignified than I am. And then that's pretty much the end of Dead Reckoning Part 1, right? So Gabriel, the face of the bad guy, the entity, goes home with his lunch money stolen by Ethan Hunt. Ethan Hunt's got the key. Now they know that there's this submerged, totaled submarine, Russian submarine called the Sevastopol that holds the original source code for the entity. So Ethan Hunt, he's the guy with the one key to go and open up the compartment in this submerged, submarine, this Russian submarine, submerged deep down in the ocean. And they imply that, that's going to be the next thing that's going to happen is Ethan Hunt's going to go find the submarine, get the source code, is going to destroy the entity. And then at the beginning of this movie, not so much. Okay, we just find him. He's making himself scarce. He won't report into the IMF, and he's just kind of holding steady, waiting to make his move. I think he's like waiting for Luther to make some kind of device or something like that. So he's not under the ocean, going into the sub or anything like that. So, and then from there, the plot is kind of hard to explain because this is a very, very complicated plot here, overly complicated. In my opinion here, it just tries to be too smart by half. But we've got Angela Bassett. Now she's the president. I didn't realize. I guess she was the president in Dead Reckoning Part 1. I had no idea. But Angela Bassett, who was the CIA director, she is now the president of these United States. And she sends one of those IMF messages, the ones that self-destruct in 5 seconds, to Ethan. It's like, hey, Ethan, we'd really appreciate you if you brought that key back, okay? So we could use it and take out the entity. And Ethan Hunt's just watching, like, I like what you said there. I don't like what you said there, and I'll make up my mind. I'll determine whether I'm going to come in or not. So he doesn't say that to her because it's a recording. But anyway, and then so it's revealed that he's still working with Luther and Benji, and they're coming up with a plan. And then Grace, played by Hayley Atwell, shows up, and then they have to figure out where Gabriel's at. So Ethan Hunt's got to find the French assassin that that's played by Pom Klementieff, or however you say her name, in the last movie. She was the sidekick to Gabriel in the last movie. They got to find her. There's all this stuff they got to do. They got to jump over this hurdle and crash through that wall and tie these strings together and all this stuff they got to do in order to destroy the entity, destroy Gabriel all along, and then of course this whole time the entity has been getting on the internet and spreading misinformation and getting people to it's been like radicalizing people, like Islam or the global warming grift, Islam, like this like extremist terrorist Islam or the global warming grift. It just uses the internet to just indoctrinate and brainwash people. And so now there's this whole there's millions and millions of people that have sworn allegiance to the entity, and they'll do whatever the entity's bidding is. So it's all these people that have sworn this, and so that's. And then I guess the rest of the plot or a lot of the plot is that Ethan's got to go here, he's got to go there, he's got to do this, and he's got to do that in order to get to the entity and destroy the entity and win the day, right? And prevent nuclear disaster, like worldwide nuclear disaster. So that's the gist of the rest of the plot. Right there, absolutely there. And hey, we got Beyond Horrible up in here in the live chat saying movies. And he says he watched Working Man. Great movie. Yes, that's the Jason Statham movie that I reviewed a few weeks ago. Right there. And yeah, I got a feeling Beyond Horrible liked it better than I did. Beekeeper had come out like a couple years ago or last year or something like that. And that was another movie where Jason Statham collaborated with director David Ayer. And quite frankly, I did like The Beekeeper better than Working Man here. I mean, I like any movie where Jason Statham gets to go in there and just kick ass, right? And he's ending baddies' lives and that kind of thing. And there's a lot of baddies just getting their ass kicked in that movie. I just thought that movie was kind of like just too over here and too over there. It was like just this jumbled mess and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, if you want to watch Jason Statham take out bad guys, all right, look, he's the transporter from back in the day. You could do a whole lot worse than a Working Man. But yeah, good to see you there, Beyond Horrible. Thank you for joining the show right here. And yeah, we're gonna have to try to get you some compadres in the live chat right there. So now, this Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, it was directed by Christopher McQuarrie, or McHugh, as Tom Cruise calls him. And McQuarrie, he directed the last 3 Mission Impossible movies, and he was kind of a key cog on Ghost Protocol. But that Ghost Protocol movie, that was directed by Brad Bird, who up until that time was more famous for directing the Incredibles movies there, so the animated movies there. And then Christopher McQuarrie is, I think, his biggest, earliest claim to fame is he wrote the script. He was the lone writer for The Usual Suspects there. So you guys all know who Kaiser Soze is, thanks to Christopher McQuarrie, okay? And about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning here. Here we go. I'm not going to lie. This was a disappointment. I was severely disappointed. I was trying to stay off of social media as much as possible before this movie, but I get on there and I post things on X and Facebook, and there were so many posts where people were like, "Oh man, what a disappointing end to this franchise," or "This movie let me down." And there's just so many of those posts that I was on social media at a minimal amount, just long enough to post some stuff, and I still saw that stuff right there. I was trying not to see other people's opinions because I like to go in kind of with a clean palette, so to speak, right? When I go see a movie, so I can form my own opinion. But all I had to do is be on social media, minimal amount, and seeing guys like the Critical Drinker and Nerd Erotic, and they just their posts, they just get on there, they just put posts like right out there. This movie sucked, or this movie was great. They don't kind of try to conceal it or anything like that. So if you've got the wrong people in your timeline right there, when it comes to spoilers or not spoilers, but like people's assessments of movies right there. And again, Critical Drinker and Nerd Erotic should be able to post whatever they want, but just be warned, okay? If you've got them in your timeline and you're trying to be one of those people that just doesn't want to hear anybody's opinion, even if it's spoiler free about a movie, you might want to get them off your timeline right there, because they just this is good, this is bad, and it's right there in your timeline and you can't ignore it. Okay, you don't have to click on a link to get their opinion. It's not beyond a paywall or anything like that. It's just, let's see what's on X right here. So Mission Impossible, I was really disappointed, or Mission Impossible, I thought it sucked. It's and it's right there in your timeline. I didn't want to hear anybody's opinion about this movie. Okay, so, but anyway, That's first world problems right there. But yeah, I was disappointed by this. I mean, Fallout set the bar really high, and the movies before that set the bar really high as well. And then Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 less so. It wasn't near as good as Fallout. And I just in this one, I right off the bat when the movie starts, you can tell that it is a movie where it is more about like a tribute, just full of member berries and remember this guy and remember that moment right there, like those that kind of content to this particular movie right here. It's like like a bed of flowers as tribute on a grave kind of thing, and like a greatest hits kind of vibe to it, as opposed to like just this latest standalone movie with a standalone plot that's supposed to, amaze you and enrapture you in the story. Because right off the bat in the movie, they keep doing all these flashbacks to Mission Impossible, like all the Mission Impossible movies, right? And all the characters, and so I personally, I wasn't really into that. I was kind of hoping they would go away from that, but throughout the entire movie, it's just nothing but dialogue of like, Ethan, you were not here by accident. You were meant to be in the position you were at. You did all these things, and it was no accident. All right. Everything has a purpose. Everything is for a reason. Like all this philosophical talk. I mean, it reminded me of like the second and third Matrix movies, where they just keep talking about the choices are not the choice, but the choice is the choice if you make the choice. But maybe you haven't made the choice, but you already did make the choice. And Pepsi is a choice of a new generation. It just kept on going through all these stupid friggin' like all this philosophical mumbo jumbo crap. They're like, stop trying to be smarter than you actually are. You're a friggin' Matrix movie, okay? And this Mission Impossible movie does the exact same thing. All right, I kept thinking Tony Robbins was going to show up and like, it was not an accident there, Ethan, and you have been very inspirational to the world, and you've been very good at inspiring people, and you should feel good in your soul. And you've saved all these millions of people from nuclear holocaust, and that is your journey. And it's just all this stuff. Like it's, it was like they were reading out, like they were taking down all these daily affirmation posters off the wall, just like taking them off the wall. The joy you have provided the world because of your exploits is so rare and beautiful. All right, let's get the next one out here. Let me give me the next daily affirmation picture off the wall. There you go. And it's all this sappy crap that they were going over throughout the whole movie there. Particularly Luther, played by Ving Rhames. He's a big culprit in this movie. Okay, he's one of the bigger offenders in this movie there. So, and then the first half of this movie was like listening to an audio book, not really watching a movie. It's just explaining things over and over again. Like everybody's an exposition dump. Like the entity has to find a safe space, but the poison pill has to connect to the Podkova for 60 seconds, but not before. Or something like the entity has unleashed propaganda and has fanatical followers who, you're driving me crazy. It's like all this explanation here. And so if you're expecting like in the first half of this movie to just have like just nonstop action and action and action and action and chase sequences and buildings blowing up and having to escape like tunnels collapsing and good gunfights and all that stuff, like not in this movie right here. It's just going to be, the first half of this movie is just going to be nothing but heaping helpings of inspirational affirmations and exposition is what you're going to get in this movie here. So, and it gets really, really old, and it's almost like, again, like I said, it's listening to an audio book. It's like watching a YouTube video on how to fix a 2022 Maytag dryer. Hey, you got to put the belt here, but then after you take the gear off of here, then you got to make sure that you get the nut here and don't lose the washer, and then make sure that the entity gets its source code into here, and you got to put it in this drive right here, but only after this green light starts. But the green light is only going to light up if you cut this red wire. Like, oh my God. All right. It's just nuts. It's nuts. And also another thing that drove me crazy about this is they could have trimmed so much time off of this movie, just like they could have trimmed half the cast. I mean, what purpose did Janet McTeer serve in the cast? I mean, who was her character even supposed to be? She was just like this lady that every once in a while comes up to President Angela Bassett like, have you considered the ramifications? Are you sure, Madam President? Are you sure? Like, just every once in a while, just comes up and puts her hand on President Angela Bassett's shoulder and does that. But they never say like who she is or anything like that. I mean, unless I missed it. I mean, and it's same with Mark Gatiss and Charles Parnell. I mean, did someone just really like the show Ozark and what Janet McTeer was in that show? And they grabbed her up just like they already grabbed Esai Morales off the show Ozark. Okay, because Esai Morales, who played Gabriel, he was the big villain in season 1 of Ozark, and then Janet McTeer was kind of the main villain character in season 2 of Ozark, and they just keep grabbing people off the show Ozark to put them in these Mission Impossible movies here. And then plus we're led to believe that there's some kind of history between President Angela Bassett and some naval admiral played by Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso, but they never really tell you what that history is. I mean, again, at least not what I caught. They just, the president, she writes this naval admiral a note, and then the naval admiral just kind of briefly goes into this story about her and President Angela Bassett have some kind of history, but very, very just skims it, right? Just doesn't explain anything, and they never like flesh it out like later on in the movie. They never wrap up that whole thing there. So just kind of just very frustrating things about this movie here. So, but anyways, even though I didn't like this movie that much, I would invite you, everybody, to hit the like button. All right. So there is a button that's actually called the like button there. And hopefully you're not feeling about this show like I felt about Mission Impossible. Hopefully you're not like, oh man, movies Merica Live, it's overrated. It's way too long. Oh my God, all this guy does is he just sounds like an audiobook. I'm not touching no like button. Hopefully you don't feel that way. Hopefully you realize that, hey, clicking the like button costs you absolutely nothing. It's free of charge. There you go. And you're doing this guy a service, there. You don't have to pay any money to do it. And then also, while you are down there clicking buttons, if you haven't already, click the follow button right on down there, if you would. And then also, there is the notification bell button down there. So that will give you notifications whenever there's a brand new episode of Movies Merica available just for your viewing pleasure. Okay. And I can't forget about everybody watching this show that isn't watching it live. If you're watching the recording of this, well, first up, thanks for watching. Good to see you. And you can still communicate with me and I with you via the comment section down below. Okay. So feel free to use that comment section to say, hey, man, your show sucks. Or, hey, I think your show is all right. It's all right. It's not great. It's not great. It's all right. All right. Or you can let me know, like, oh, my God, your show is why Rumble and YouTube were invented. You're the best, Van. You're awesome. Like, if you want to do that, that's cool. I mean, a lot of that would be cool. I like that. I mean, but I can handle the constructive criticism. I am not delicate and fragile or anything. I'm not a snowflake. Okay. There, I can take that as well. But anyway, enough about the comment section and all that right there. I appreciate you doing that. And then also get in the live chat. If anybody is watching live right now, don't be afraid. Get in the live chat. We won't hurt you in there much. No, I'm kidding. Get in the live chat on Rumble or YouTube. I mean, just all you got to do is like, hey, put like a thumbs up emoji in there, or just simply, if you're brave enough, type in the letters H-I, which spell out hi. There you go. That's all you got to do. Okay. I'm not expecting you to write, the Gettysburg Address in there. Just say hi, or get a thumbs up or put a poop emoji in there in the live chat. And that's totally fine. That's totally cool. And you can do that in YouTube or Rumble right there. Now, I think a reason why, okay, let me try that again. I think a reason why a lot of people don't get in the live chat is sometimes Rumble and YouTube, they make it very hard to find where the live chat is. And so if you're watching on YouTube, there's like an icon. It looks like a couple of like captions, like talk captions, or talk bubbles. That's it. Got it kind of down towards the bottom, like right below the picture or the video of me. And I think it says like chat, or it's got a picture of a couple of text bubbles there. And then on Rumble, quite simply, it's just a chat button, a little button that just says chat on it with a couple of people there. And then when you click on that, it'll just bring up a window, and then you can just type in whatever you want. They're very easy there, everybody. I like it. I love it. There you go. I want more of it. All right, so more Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. All right. So it sounds like, I'm dumping all over this movie here, but there are some bright spots in this movie. There are some very entertaining sequences here. Okay. I mean, you can't spend $400 million on a movie and have it star, the last great movie star without, there being some entertaining sequences, at least, accidentally, right? And so there's entertaining sequences like there's a sequence where Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt, he's got to get in this deep dive suit to accomplish something that we thought we were going to see much earlier in the movie. Okay, because again, like I said, at the end of Dead Reckoning Part 1, they even towards the end of the movie, they even show the sunken submarine, the sunken Russian submarine, the Sevastopol there, and they imply at the end of Dead Reckoning Part 1, oh, well, when we see Dead Reckoning Part 2, or The Final Reckoning as it's called now, they're probably going to start with Ethan Hunt like on the submarine getting the source code. But nope, not so much. Though you got to wait like halfway through this movie for that to happen. But it does eventually happen, and so Ethan Hunt, he's got to get on a U.S. submarine, and then he's got to like get in a deep dive suit and go and get out of the U.S. submarine into the icy depths of an ocean there. And then there's a really cool sequence when he's doing that, where he basically exits the submarine while it's submerged deep in the ocean, and he's got to like try to evade the submarine. And it's really, you can tell this is a sequence where they spent a lot of money on this movie right there. And so again, he's got to get to the submerged submarine, the Russian submarine, and he's got this thing. It kind of looks like kind of the size of like an old walkie-talkie. It's called the Podkova, and well, he doesn't have it yet. That's what he's trying to get to. He's trying to get that from the submarine. It's like kind of this, old school walkie-talkie size thing called the Podkova that has the entity source code that's on the submarine, and he saw it in Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's the thing with all the lights blinking, up and down there. So he's got to go and get that from the sunken submarine, and that was pretty. That whole sequence under the deep ocean was pretty exciting there, and they show him he's in the submerged submarine trying to find it. It reminded me of The Abyss way back in the day, back in the 80s, the James Cameron movie. A lot of it reminded me of The Abyss there. And then, of course, there's the biplane sequence that we've seen in all the trailers there, where Tom Cruise is on the biplane, he's hanging off it. So that sequence was pretty cool in the South Africa sequence there. And also, another thing I liked is I did like the subplot where the entity, like I'd said before, it had used cyberspace, it used the internet to indoctrinate, people that are on the internet way too much. Okay, so the people that just sit there, and apparently they don't have jobs, right? They just sit in their mommy's basement and they just get on social media and they're all day long just looking at people's posts and responding and getting indoctrinated, getting brainwashed. And so there's even a part in the movie where Ethan Hunt says something that's so out of character for him. it doesn't really fit what we know of Ethan Hunt. But at some point, he's fighting a guy, and he's like, "You are on the internet way too much." Ethan Hunt actually says that while he's fighting a guy, and that's one of the things I didn't like about this is this movie too much. It drastically changes the character of Ethan Hunt in some scenes, kind of like the James Bond movie No Time to Die that came out a few years ago, the last Daniel Craig movie. How that movie, the screenwriters really changed the personality of Daniel Craig's James Bond to where he was kind of like this more aloof, kind of more trendy, kind of more modern James Bond, where he's always cracking quips, and he's just very light and on his light in the loafers, and he's just like cracking wise and using trendy phrases and that kind of thing. And it's like it didn't really fit with the Daniel Craig James Bond that we'd seen in prior movies right there. And then I have to say, one of the things that kind of like, I don't know, just gave me this weird feeling is that there was some weird energy between Ethan Hunt and the characters who play the sub divers on this American submarine that he's on here, the ones that have to brief him on how to use this deep dive suit to get down to the Russian submarine there. It's just a really weird energy. It's almost like a psychosexual or something like that. It's just really weird there, particularly between Ethan Hunt and this female diver played by Katie O'Brien here. And the dynamic, the interactions between them, the vibe I was getting, it was I kept thinking that it was going to be revealed that Katie O'Brien's diver character was some daughter of Ethan Hunt that he had no idea about, because that would fit perfectly in a movie like this where they're going for sentimentality more than they did in the other Mission Impossible movies. So in this movie, they're trying to tear at the heartstrings or tug at the heartstrings more. And so that would fit in perfectly with this movie. We're like, hey, Ethan, yeah, that diver that helped you out on that submarine, she's a long-lost daughter of yours that you had with whatever chick, right? Who knows, right? There. And so I thought that was going to that was going to happen in this movie. Now, on a more positive note, remember the first Mission Impossible way back in 1996, and how Ethan Hunt and Luther they broke into the CIA headquarters right there. They broke into Langley, and Ethan Hunt had to hang down from the rope there, and he was trying to get the knock list. Remember the knock list from Mission Impossible? And they're in that black vault, the secret vault or whatever, where if anything hits the floor, it sets off the alarms. You have to have the temperature just a certain amount, otherwise the alarms go off. There's lasers up there. That whole Mission Impossible sequence there from the very first Mission Impossible movie, and they had to keep the guy that typically works in that vault. His name is William Donlow. They had to keep him out of that vault so that Ethan could get the knock list. Well, the guy that played Donlow in the very first Mission Impossible movie, you basically see the Donlow character again in this movie. Okay, so the character of William Donlow, because remember in Mission Impossible, after that whole heist sequence from the CIA headquarters happened, Donlow got punished for it because he's the one who created that vault and said, oh, it's impenetrable. Nobody can get to anything that's stored in that vault. And of course, Ethan Hunt, gets in there and steals the knock list, disproving Donlow's, hey, nobody can get in here theory or claim. And so after that happened, after Ethan Hunt broke into the vault and the CIA realized it, they're like, hey, Donlow, come here, Donlow. Yeah, we're going to be sending you to this frozen installation, this frozen CIA installation here, there, and you're going to work there for the rest of your career right there, because we're not too happy with you. I mean, because you told us that nobody could break into this vault here, and somebody just did. So hey, have fun with those sled dogs at that frozen tundra location we're about to send you to the rest of your career. There you go. So we wish you good luck, but we wouldn't really mean it. So now in this latest Mission Impossible movie, we are reacquainted with William Donlow, and he gets some respect. Okay, he gets some respect. He gets the movie franchise does good by him. Okay, and he's up there. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to tell you how they do right by him, but it's good. It's a feel good part of the movie. There, it's very that one successfully tugs at the old heartstrings right there. So it's good. It's very very good right there. So this movie doesn't get everything wrong. Okay, not everything whatsoever, but there's a lot it does not get right. But there's one thing that I always do that I always get right there, and that of course is brew review time. All right, everybody. So this for this brewery time, we go to the land of the rising sun right here. Yes, we got some Sapporo Premium Lager right here. Look at that condensation. It is just dripping, isn't it? Look at that. It's just dripping. So it's a steel can, so that's probably that's contributing to it right there. But yeah, we got Sapporo Lager here, the premium beer, and this is the OG. This is Sapporo. It's the oldest it's the oldest beer in Japan here. And it was originally brewed by a Japanese brewmaster who he was a Japanese guy who left Japan like at age 17 at a time where it was absolutely forbidden to leave Japan. But this guy was like, screw this, all right? I'm sick of geisha girls. I'm traveling the world. And so he left Japan at 17, and he found his way to Germany. And the Germans, as much as they like to invade countries and start world wars. Well, there's another thing they do, and that is they brew pretty good brew. And so he went there. This Japanese guy went there to Germany. They trained him up in the ways of beer, made him a brewmaster, and then he went back to Japan to start the Sapporo brewery there. Okay, and this is the very first brew, the type of brew that he did for his Sapporo company there. And I like Sapporo. I dig it. I've been drinking it ever since I was actually stationed in Japan there back in the early and mid 90s there, which tells you how old I am. And so I can personally attest that Sapporo goes phenomenally well with some sake. Okay. Even more specifically, like when you're at a sake festival, at a park in Japan, and you're sitting there with your girl on a picnic blanket, and you got the cherry blossom trees, and they're dropping the cherry blossoms. It is a beautiful, beautiful experience. And you and your girl are just sitting there, and you're just doing sake shots, and you're drinking Sapporo. Just a beautiful, beautiful experience right there. So can I go back there right now? Can I end the show and go back to that moment? Because I really am fondly remembering that moment. All right, everybody, end the show. I'm going to go back to that. Okay. Those are some happy memories, I just have to say, going to sake festivals and seeing all of that good stuff right there. Okay, but anyway, this is 4.9% alcohol by volume right here, and I am going to toast to those pleasant memories and to you joining me for this Movies Merica Live episode. So here we go. Excellent right there. So hopefully the sound of my drinking wasn't too disgusting. But yeah, Sapporo, they believe in mass quantities there. This is their quintessential steel can, and it's 22 ounces there. So look at that. There you go. Look at that bad boy. So as my fingers are covering up, there we go. Yeah, look at that. So Sapporo premium beer. Love that. And as you can see, it really fosters condensation right there. So I'm going to get that off the top of my keyboard before I get water on my keyboard and everything is ruined. Okay. But yeah, grab yourself some Sapporo. It's one of the easier beers that I've reviewed that you can find anywhere. Okay. It's quite ubiquitous. Okay. And but Sapporo, pretty damn good. It is my favorite Japanese beer. I like it better than Asahi there personally, which is another very popular Japanese beer brand right there. But yeah, let me know in the live chat, if you ever had Sapporo, what you think of it, let me know in the comments if you ever had Sapporo and what you think of it too. You can say it sucked, you can say it's great, whatever. We accept all opinions here. As you can tell, it makes you burp there as well. And I'm prone to that too. I drink beer, and it just gets me burping. So yeah, and it makes me look like a fool. All right, but anyway, let's wrap it up with another brew review time. See, Beyond Formal, he's getting his boogie on. He's getting his boogie on in the live chat right there. Yeah, Beyond Formal right there. And hey, let's get Beyond Formal some company there in the live chat right there. He's lonely. He's so lonely. And he needs a friend in the live chat right there. Okay, so get in there. So I want to see some my peeps get up in the live chat right there with Beyond Formal. And also you can get the live chat on Rumble or on YouTube as well there. All right. It's all good. It's going to be all right, everybody. The live chat, it won't hurt you. It won't hurt you. Okay. There you go. It's friendly there. Okay. So definitely do that there. All right. And real quick here, let me tell you all about the fact that we have some merch. Yeah, we have merch available to you. Movies, Merica merch strictly for you. Okay. And because, I like to be able to provide things for people there and practical things like a t-shirt, t-shirt, something you can wear there. Or we don't just have Movies Merica t-shirts for merch. No, we have Movies Merica pint glasses. We got necklaces. We got phone cases. We got plates, all kinds of merch. I mean, stuff that you would never even imagine that Movies Merica would be emblazoned on right there. I mean, yoga pants. I got yoga pants that you can get with Movies Merica. Movies Merica right on the ass. Okay, there you go. Movies Merica on the left cheek, Merica on the right cheek. There you go. Okay, so they think of everything. All right, so and we're making it very easy for you to get merch, Movies Merica merch specifically, because there is a merch link in the description down below. All right, so go on down there, just kind of cruising down below. There we go. And click on that merch link there. And then when you pick out your merch items and get them in the shopping cart, make sure to put in promo code MOVIES, okay? Ignore that overlay. That overlay is wrong. We still got to fix that. Put in promo code MOVIES, and you are going to get free shipping on all your merch items, okay? And also, Movies Merica merch makes great gift items as well. We got Father's Day coming up here, all right? And nothing says, I love you, Father, like a Movies Merica t-shirt, okay? Or Movies Merica pint glass or whatever. Or maybe your dad isn't into drink, okay? Maybe your dad is more into, he needs a new phone case, or, he likes jewelry, all right? And he wants a little bracelet or bracelet. Dudes don't wear bracelets unless you're Armenian or something like that, but kind of a necklace or something like that. There you go. But there's all kinds of things that you can get the old man there for Movies Merica merch. So check that out, everybody. Do it. Get up in there. There you go. All right. So, and again, hey, it's Sunday. It's Movies Merica Live. You just saw me drinking my Sapporo. You guys should be drinking something too, okay? Whether it's a Sapporo or a single malt whiskey, or maybe some sweet tea, or maybe you're just rocking a Diet Pepsi. Who knows, all right? But the show is for relaxing, okay? For giving you a break, letting you take a load off right there. Or you can just listen to it while you're actually working. I know a lot of people do that. I get people in the live chat. They're like, hey, hey, Van, sorry, I can't watch it live, or I can't watch it. I just have it on in the background, while making sourdough bread rolls. Is it sourdough? Yeah, sourdough rolls. There you go. Yeah, or I'm behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler, or I'm making Rice Krispie treats or something like that. So that I appreciate too, because that helps me with watch minutes. Okay, like the number of minutes people watch the show. So even if you're just listening to it in the background, you're still watching it according to Rumble and YouTube. And that's what I talk about right there. That's what I always recommend doing there. So anyway, enough about that. So let's get into the random thoughts, because I do have some random thoughts about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And I thought the soundtrack was a weak sauce, generic retread of music we've already heard in mission movies. All right. They went with some guys named Maxa Rouge and Alfie Godfrey. Who? All right. They went with these guys to do the score this time instead of Lauren Balfe, who did the last two mission movies. So Lauren Balfe, he did the last two mission movies. He also did most of the score for Top Gun Maverick there. He's really good. He also did a fantastic score for the movie Gran Turismo, Lauren Balfe, and he partnered with somebody else on that on the Gran Turismo score. But man, Gran Turismo, great movie, great score. Okay, but that's Lauren Balfe. Now the two guys that they got for this latest mission movies, these guys really they sound more like coattail writers compared to like Lauren Balfe and then earlier Mission Impossible movie composers like Michael Giacchino and Hans Zimmer, and then Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman did the soundtrack for the very first Mission Impossible movie. And then another random thought about this is the entity still proves to be a villain that it's hard to just feel like this is a foreboding villain, okay? It's just this thing that just looks like a screensaver on your Mac or something, with a creepy voice. Yeah, Ethan, you will bring me the source code that I need, or otherwise the world will be destroyed, But when it's talking, it just looks like a glorified screensaver. Okay, it's like, all right. And we're told the entity it's taking over nuclear weapon systems like Skynet in the Terminator movies, right? But it's not something that really has a face. Now, Esai Morales' character Gabriel, he's been shunned by the entity because, let's face it. All right, let's be honest about Gabriel in the first movie, in Dead Reckoning Part 1. Let's just be honest. He blew it. Okay, he blew it. All right, he blew it. He didn't get off the train with the cruciform key. All right, Ethan Hunt outwitted him. Okay, so yeah, Esai Morales' character Gabriel, he's a slipping. All right, and so the entity realizes that, and Esai Morales' character has been shunned. Okay, he's been shunned. All right, like Dwight Schrute style. He's been shunned. All right, so or is it this way? Yeah, you've been shunned, and now you've been unshunned. Now you've been shunned. Now you've been unshunned. So Gabriel, the Esai Morales character, he's not even the face of the entity. Okay, I guess one could argue, like the millions of people that have been brainwashed by the entity's misinformation. I guess they could be the face of the entity. So there you go. See, all I had to do is just talk about it a little bit more, and I kind of start fleshing things out a little bit more. Another random thought about this movie is the cinematography. For those of you who care about things like the cinematography, it just looked all washed out. Like it was lacking in color. Okay. I don't know if you guys remember this movie. This is from way back in the day, but remember the movie Payback with Mel Gibson? Remember the one where, he's like this thief and his partner turns on him and shoots him and leaves him for dead. And Mel Gibson, hence the movie's title, has to get payback. Well, that movie had a very washed out color to it. Okay, it barely had any color to it whatsoever. And most of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning it has the same deal going on. It's very lacking in color. Okay, now the other Mission movies, it had like a very vibrant color palette. Specifically like Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. When they go to is it Mumbai? It goes to Mumbai. They go to Mumbai, and Paula Patton has to seduce, the Indian billionaire to get like the code from him or something. That's a very colorful movie right there. Not Final Reckoning, not at all. Okay, I know if it's like trying to be less colorful because it's trying to be so serious, very serious. Okay, and now as far as the color goes and the lack of color, there are major exceptions to that color palette or to that cinematography, like the biplane sequence that we've seen in all the trailers. That sequence is very, very colorful. Okay, and then there's like a party sequence there that has a lot more color than the vast majority of the rest of the movie has right there. Other than those scenes, this movie just looked very, very pale. Okay, so I know a lot of you right now, you might be like, I don't care about no cinematography there, Van. Who cares? All right, nerd alert. Okay, like who cares? All right, I just want, hey, is there good car chases and gunfights and cool visual effects? Is the CGI tip top? Is Hayley Atwell looking hot? I mean, that's all we care about. We don't care about no damn cinematography. All right, so come on. Next point there, Van. Next point. There you go. And hey, you know what? I can take a hint right there. So, but you know what? Moving on. I can't think of a better way to move on, but to let you guys know about a great sponsor for this show. And that great sponsor has a name, and that name is Flip City Magazine. All right. And Flip City Magazine, it is a magazine that is going to crack you up. It's going to make you laugh. It's going to make you giggle, okay? And I would say that Flip City is the more than worthy successor to, remember Mad Magazine and Cracked Magazine back in the day? Well, those movies have they've fallen to the wayside. Okay, they've allowed themselves to get assimilated into the woke Borg, but not Flip City Magazine. All right, they have one priority only, and that is to crack you up right there. So, and they do that very, very, very well here, and I can attest to that myself because I've read Flip City, and quite frankly, with me reading it, I have to read it on the toilet because it's so funny. A little urine comes out of me. I got to be honest with you. Okay, full disclosure, I'm totally honest with you. It's very shameful, and I'm very embarrassed about it. But hey, I'm all about honesty with my audience right there. So, but I'm going to try to get myself out of this one by playing the actual Flip City promo video.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
Genuinely cutting, but also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
All right, so yes, you should have been tantalized by that video for sure right there. Okay, you should be hypnotized to get yourself some Flip City Magazine post haste right there, all right? And we're making it very easy for you because as you see down below, we have a Flip City link in the description right there, all right? Just for your convenience because, yeah, I don't want to make you hunt and peck all over the place for a Flip City link. I want to make it very easy for you, okay? You got enough difficult things in life to deal with, all right? So we're making it very easy for you. Click on the Flip City link in the description down below, okay? And then put in promo code MOVIES after you choose to get a Flip City subscription, and you are going to get 10% off your next order of the best non-woke magazine around right there, okay? And hey, say maybe you're one of those people that are ahead of the game. All right, you're a trailblazer, you're a trendsetter, you're a leader, not a follower, and you've already got a subscription to Flip City Magazine. Well, hey, Flip City Magazine makes a fantastic gift, all right? It's particularly for, like I was talking about before, dear old dad on Father's Day right there, okay? So give the gift of giggle to your old man for this Father's Day right there, okay? So all you got to do is, again, like I said, click on the Flip City link in the description right there, and it's easy peasy lemon squeezy from there. So check that out, everybody. Get it done. All right. So excellent. And hey, just to let you guys know that as usual, there will be a Movies America. Pardon me. I'm getting all choked up about this Thursday show. Movies America spoiler warning, where I will be going over in more depth, in more detail, the Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning movie. Okay, maybe the final movie of the Mission Impossible movies. Not really. But yeah, we'll be going and doing a deep dive, doing an autopsy on that. And when I say we, I say that because I might be having some compadres join me. I might be a little assistants with that episode this Thursday night. I might have some special guests joining me. But yeah, just keep track of my @Movies America page on X for updates about some potential special guests on this Thursday's Movies America spoiler warning show, all about movies. Not all about Movies America. I guess it is kind of all about Movies America, but it's also about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Yeah, sorry. It's not the half reckoning. It's not the 3/4 reckoning. It's the final reckoning. It's the final reckoning. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. And I will stop doing that right now. Okay. I will stop doing that right now to let you know, as I always do with my spoiler-free reviews on Sundays, is this movie a woke after-school special? Okay. And for all of you that are below a certain age who have no idea what an after-school special is, okay, way back in the day, all right, where everybody had to travel around by horse and buggy, well, not that far back, but back in the 70s and 80s, there were these things on TV called after-school specials. And they were exactly like they sound. There were these shows that came on after the kiddos get out of school, after school, and you go home and, like, hey, Mom, can I have some snack pack? Hey, where's the juicy juice? Hey, can I sit down and watch some TV, Mom? And you'd sit down and watch some TV, and you'd crank on the TV, and this thing called an after-school special would come on. And after-school specials were these corny kind of teaching you a lesson shows that taught you lessons like, hey, if you're at junior high and somebody offers you a cigarette, you better say no. You say, shame, shame, shame. You offering me that Marlboro, all right? Or don't get in a car with a drunk driver. Like, it's all these like very corny, cheesy shows that are there to teach you a lesson or teach you how to not do the wrong things, right? And so nowadays, the correlation between that and the movies nowadays is some movies nowadays for like the last 10, 15 years, they're not so interested in being entertaining movies. They're more interested in being woke after school specials. Like, if you do that, you're not very woke. You need to do this and this and this to be woke. It's a lesson in woke, okay? It's a woke after school special. So, is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, is it a woke after school special? In a way, a little, I guess. I mean, the writers are most assuredly trying to earn their DEI Boy Scout badges with all the female pilots. And there's like a female admiral. And woohoo! We finally get President Kamala Harris. Yay! And what everybody's been waiting for, right? Finally, a proud black woman as the joyful president to stand up to the evil, dastardly patriarchy. That evil, evil patriarchy. Ugh. All right. Well, not exactly. Okay. All right. It's actually President Angela Bassett, not Kamala Harris. Okay. So, Kamala Harris didn't drop to her knees and do what she had to do to become the president in this movie. Okay. No, it's President Angela Bassett. Okay. And like I said before, Angela Bassett, she was like the CIA director in previous Mission Impossible movies right here. And Bassett, she plays the president I'll say she plays the president with more command and maturity than cackling Kamala would have in real life. But all that's being said, I'd say the remnants of woke that are in this aren't enough to where it should keep you from watching this movie at some point. Okay. I would not recommend seeing this movie in a theater, but you can watch it at some point, like when it comes out on streaming in 5 minutes. Okay, but so yeah, the little trace amounts of woke in this isn't enough, where you should steer clear from this movie. All right, it's still tolerable. It just has those moments in the movie where like, oh God, just whatever. Okay, all right. It kind of elicits those reactions right there. If you're smart enough and intuitive enough to pick up on those moments right there, most people are just like, oh, they're not even going to pick it up whatsoever. Okay, there. So, but yeah, so that's my thoughts on whether this movie is a woke after school special or anything like that. So, but real quick here, permit me, if you would, to let you guys know that if you guys are appreciating me, giving you a heads up and warning you that whether this movie is a woke after school special or just clearly just plain warning you whether it's worth your hard-earned dollars to go see this movie at the theaters. Okay, I mean, because movies they're not cheap, right? Even the matinees are like what, $9, $10, all right. And if you go on a Friday night or Saturday night, you're shelling like 17, $18 a person in some places, right there. And so you want to make sure if you're shelling out that kind of money, it's an entertaining movie for you and anybody else that you're bringing there. And so if you appreciate me letting you know if that is indeed the case with movies every week, okay, because that's what I want to do for you. I like to help out my fellow man in any way I can. Let's face it, I'm doing a movie review show. Right? It's not like I'm helping people put ceiling fans up or or helping people save money with their taxes. All right, it's a movie review show. I'm just warning people away from bad movies and steering them towards good movies that are worth their hard-earned dollars right there. And if you appreciate that enough to throw a buck or two my way, that's totally cool. You can definitely do that. And so here's the part where I let you know how you could do that. Okay, so if you're on Rumble, you can throw a buck or two my way via what they call a Rumble rant, okay? And so how that works is down by where you type in your live chat message, okay? There's a button with a dollar sign on it, okay? And you're just going to click on that. It'll just ask you how much money you want to throw my way, a buck or two or however much you want. And that's it. Very easy, very simple, very, very quick and efficient, okay? Now, if you're checking me out on YouTube, you can do what they call a super chat. That's how you can throw a buck or two my way. And it works very similarly to the way it works on Rumble, okay? On YouTube, to do this super chat thing I talked about, down by where you type in your live chat message, you just got to click on the button with the dollar bill sign on it. And that also will ask you how much you want to throw my way as far as cash. And that's it. That's it. Very easy right there. But that's only if you feel I deserve it, okay? Only if you are so inclined to throw some money my way, all right? So all I gotta know is begging for money makes me thirsty. So here we go. Oh, yeah. I must have been really thirsty. There you go. All right. So where are we at here on the old judge's docket here on Movies Merica Live here? Well, we are to my final thoughts. And my final thoughts on Mission Impossible, the final reckoning is, I'll sum it up like this. What happened? I don't get it. What did I just watch? All right. Like, I mean, this movie has the same writers mostly as Mission Impossible Fallout and Dead Reckoning Part 1. Okay, I think like Fallout, the only writer I think was Christopher McQuarrie, and in this movie has Christopher McQuarrie and then Eric Jenderson there. I think that's how it works, but same writers, okay? It's not like they went out and got some lame writers who the only thing they've ever written is some lame show on, the Hallmark Channel or something like that. No, these are the same writers that did the last few Mission Impossible movies, okay, which were hits, and for good reason. They were good movies, but I do not know what happened with these guys. I don't know if they try to tap into something sentimental, they try to tap into something that tugs at your heartstrings. Like that's when they really just crap the bed or something. I have no idea. But one of my other final thoughts is I cannot, in good conscience, recommend that you go see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning at the theaters. Okay, save your money. Don't waste your money going to see this at the theaters. Don't do it. Okay, just wait for it to come out on streaming here, and save your money for something more worthwhile. Okay, so keep that money in your kids' college fund. Don't tap into your kids' college fund just to go see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, because first off, that's very irresponsible for you to do that, and second of all, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is no movie to go to those lengths for. Not at all. I mean, it's not like it's not a quality movie like Super Troopers or something like that. Come on, it's not get crazy or anything right here now. Okay, there you go. All right, but real quick here, as I get ready to wrap up this show here, I just want to ask you if you guys would follow me on platforms like X or Gab or Facebook, okay, or Instagram. You just got to look for me on those platforms with @Movies Merica. Okay, so it's uniform across the board, and I'm under @Movies Merica on all those platforms right there. And then the plus, the big reward for you if you do that is if you go ahead and you DM me, if you direct message me on X on my @Movies Merica account there, and you let me know, hey, Van, I followed you on this platform and that platform and that platform and that platform and that platform. I will follow you back on those platforms right there. Okay, so I'll add a follower to your account because you did a solid for me. You added a follower to my account there, a subscriber to my account. And again, pardon me, if you follow or subscribe to me, it costs you nothing. Nothing. Okay? No money whatsoever. Okay, there we go. So that should make it easy for us to scratch each other's backs in the most non-sexual way possible. Okay, there we go. There you go. And again, this Thursday night, Movies Merica spoiler warning, going over Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning in more detail. And I may have some compadres joining me on the show to help me out with that right there. But as I get ready to wrap up this episode of Movies Merica Live, I just want to thank you all again for watching this show, whether you watch it live or you're watching the recording of it, and particularly to those who got in the live chat right there. So that's going above and beyond right there. All right. But as I always say, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya.
Howdy, my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. Would you do me a favor and check me out at solo.to/moviesmerica? That's where you would go for a one-stop shop for all the links that have to do with me, Movies Merica. And then also, if you want to check out the audio-only podcast versions of my Movies Merica Live episodes, that's my spoiler-free reviews that I do on Sunday, you can go to moviesmerica.com or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, places like that. And then, actually, if you would also check me out on the social media sites like X and Instagram and Facebook and Gab. And I'm on those locations all under @Movies Merica. So it is very easy to find me out there, all right? So get to it, everybody. All right, thanks for watching. Later.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the po-po. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'd be doing me a big favor. Put me in handcuffs pretty soon. All right. Thanks for watching.